Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in the vicinity-ish of Indianapolis, who just won Game 2, only 2 games away from winning their first ever NBA championship. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Thursday, June 12th, 2025. And this is the TNAM Daily Show here on the new American media, because the old American media failed you. Also happening in the world of relevant news, Air India has crashed. We're going to tell you what we think we know. Of course, this is something we all need to understand anytime something happens, whether it's a shocking video that you see that gets you angry, whether it's a big cataclysmic explosion. There's something called the 72-hour rule. We don't know anything for 72 hours. So don't get too worked up. Don't think you have every answer to every question on God's green earth. We're going to unpack what people are saying, and then we're going to see how that bears out factually moving forward. But we're going to unpack what we think we know so far about the Air India crash. We're also going to discuss the Autopen testimony. Will roughly 8,000 Joe Biden air quote pardons be undone because they weren't even signed by Biden? We will discuss the latest in that. I think we have 4 people have agreed to testify in front of Congress. This is going to get spicy. Also, we're going to discuss the riots expanding what we saw in New York, where a whole lot of cars, not a lot, meaning a number of a lot. I mean, a parking lot full of cop cars were set on fire with Molotov cocktails yesterday. We're going to break that down and everything else. Plus, we're going to have a special guest coming in to talk sports today. It's going to be a good show. Buckle up, leave your comments, and let's get ready for today's program.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. Welcome to the program. Hit like, hit subscribe, jump into the comments section. Good morning, David Band. David is here. David is one of our regulars. I do consider myself to be a bartender, hence the name, the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. That's what our merchandise says. These are wooden coasters. If you want some, leave me a message. We will send some out to you. But yeah, I've been a bartender for a large part of my life. And here, let me pull up the different background. There we go. Now I'm the bartender. David's one of the regulars. He comes in, we talk. We look at what's going on the TV screens. One of them has sports. One of them has Fox News. One of them has CNN. Whatever. We just talk about what's happening in the universe. That's kind of how my brain's wired. That's what this show is about. Thank you for being here, but become a regular. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and jump into the comments section. Say hello. Tell us where you're watching from. David's our buddy from Ontario, but we're going to have people jumping in from, Florida, Ohio, Texas, California. We get people all over the place. So hit like, hit subscribe. For the new watchers, want to tell you at the bottom of the screen here, these are the places you can follow the New American Media. You need to follow us on more than one location because we have been censored into oblivion by the gatekeepers, by the bad guys, by the big tech overlords who do not like freedom of speech. We love freedom of speech. So follow the New American Media on Instagram, Facebook, True Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, D Live, and YouTube at the New American Media. We're also on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. We're also on X at American_Media_. And we are on Spotify and Apple as a podcast called the Agree to Disagree Show that encapsulates our TNAM Daily Show as well. And finally, if anybody wants to throw something into our tip jar, scrolling at the bottom of the screen, thank you to all of our monthly Patreon subscribers. We really appreciate that support. We're at the New American Media on Patreon, Venmo and Cash App at BrianEngelman, and PayPal at Fuzz Installment. All right, let's get into today's show. Did you watch the game yesterday? What game? What game? What do you mean, what game? Playoffs. Talk about playoffs? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Not just the playoffs. We're talking about the NBA freaking finals. And my, oh my, has the Eastern Conference been a strange place since LeBron James moved out west. We got a couple of tweets about that, just showing the parity, not parity, but the parity of what's been happening in the Eastern Conference of the NBA. But we'll touch on that, and then we're going to get into the rest of the news on today's program. We're going to bring in special guest, Ezrael Robinson, live in the studio. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
What's up? I'm good. You?
Living the dream. Thanks for joining us.
That's nice.
Yeah. Ezrael, Izzy. You can call him Ezrael or Izzy.
Doesn't matter.
We go way back. We go way back a heck of a lot of years, and now we are hanging out in Louisville, Kentucky, the home of Muhammad Ali. Izzy, you're a bit of a boxer yourself, yeah?
Yeah.
Amateur. How long have you been boxing?
Like a year and a half, somewhere around there.
So we're going to go to the Muhammad Ali Museum out here. It's a pretty cool place. He's one of Louisville's favorite sons. What do you know about Muhammad Ali? Have you studied his stuff? Like what do you know about the man? What do you?
A little bit. I know he was a good boxer during his time. But I heard during the time he got robbed of his prime due to the Vietnam draft and all that other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I do know that he was an activist for human rights and a whole bunch of other things. Wonderful that he's done. But that, in my opinion, what makes him like the greatest boxer of all time. Because there's different, as in best and greatest. That's how I put it. Like Michael Jordan, LeBron. LeBron's the best of all time. Jordan's the greatest. Two different words. But in my opinion, Muhammad Ali epitomizes it as being one of the greatest, both on the canvas and off the canvas.
Interesting. All right. No, I like how you do that. And we'll unpack that. We'll maybe save that for another show. We should talk about the GOAT maybe tomorrow or one of the upcoming episodes, because Izzy and I are going to have the chance to do this maybe for a week. So we'll see. I consider the GOAT in basketball to be GOAT 1A and GOAT 1B. There's only two people on the top of that pyramid. Michael Jordan held it down. I don't know who Michael took it from. I guess that's a really good question. Izzy, if you could think back, now obviously you didn't watch these guys in their prime, but I off the top of my head, I don't know who was universally understood to be the greatest of all time before Michael Jordan became the greatest.
Either Kareem or Wilt.
Or Oscar Robertson or Bill Russell. If we're going just by championships, that's how they always bash LeBron.
Yeah, that's how they kind of do it.
Six rings. It's like,
but I mean, at the time that league, there wasn't a lot of people in that league. It was only like 8 teams or something like that. So
yeah, they were playing against plumbers, right? That's the joke. They're playing against plumbers and electricians, aka out of shape white guys, short out of shape white guys. But yeah, so I consider LeBron now to have surpassed Jordan as GOAT 1A. Jordan is GOAT 1B. And then there's a drop off to everybody else. And it's not to take anything away from Jordan. I never thought anybody would even come close. LeBron's been the GOAT for 5, 6, 7 years now. It just longevity matters, health and durability and consistency. It just matters. And some of it's pure luck. I mean, Bo Jackson, where would he rank the greatest of baseball and football if he just stayed healthy?
Exactly.
He couldn't stay healthy. So unfortunately, that plays a part in it. But David saying, yeah, he was definitely a great boxer. Who's your favorite boxer?
My favorite boxer? Sugar Ray Robinson. He's really old. That's what
is that because you have the same last name?
A little bit, yeah. But that's who Muhammad Ali learned how to fight from. So I'll watch a lot of his stuff. Modern today, I like a lot of guys. This one guy named Triple G. He fought
Triple G.
Yeah, he's from Kazakhstan. He's a Kazakhstani boxer.
Yeah.
Who else? I like Floyd before. It was Pretty Boy Floyd. I like watching him, picking up stuff from him. Sugar Ray Leonard, I like him too as well. Just people who I could like take bits of their game and like try to implement it where I use it in the gym. So
What about Jake Paul? Isn't he the GOAT?
Nah, not at all.
But you know what? He's pumping energy into the sport.
I mean, yeah, 100%.
He's putting eyeballs back into the ring because a lot of people have moved on from boxing. They're into MMA only.
Yeah. And the way I put it is boxing's weird. That's the main reason why I picked it up a little bit more than
because it's weird.
MMA is because boxers, like if you were to go pro and like try to make a career out of it, they get paid way more than MMA like UFC fighters do. And that's a weird little like pay gap difference. But my question is that you could draw on an audience, but with today and streaming services like almost any sport, I go online and I'll watch it off of there. But ever since Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao like retired, I mean Manny Pacquiao's coming back this summer, but ever since they retired that huge pay-per-view, I don't understand how some boxers are going to pay like $10 million a fight, because it kind of seems like a little bit of a maybe like some old money that's getting put into there rather than MMA
sponsorship money. You're getting the big beer money contracts, legacy.
Yeah, and as far as MMA, that's becoming way more popular because of, in my opinion, like Dana White and Joe Rogan, them putting on a display. But it also is still kind of not seen as more appealing than boxing because of how much more physical and like kind of like brutal the sport is itself. So.
Okay. David saying for him, I guess we'll ask the people out there in the audience. For anyone just jumping into the program, thank you for joining us. Got a lot of people watching on X right now. So, yeah, definitely jump into the chat. We'll do a question of the day. Who is the greatest boxer of all time? Tell us who is the greatest boxer of all time in the comments section. Jump in, leave your comment. We'd love to hear from you. David is saying for him, in his mind, he thinks prime Mike Tyson. Yeah. And then, of course, Kenneth with a nice joke. Tyson was winging it. Like chicken wings, Tyson chicken. Funny, Kenneth. Well done. So, yeah, we're not going to mainly talk about we're not going to talk mainly about boxing today. I think what we're going to do. Oh, is that plugged in?
I just plugged in.
Okay, I was going, wait a minute. I bet you that's what he's looking for. Probably said because I needed to charge that. Yeah. So we're just touching on boxing because that is his jam. But yeah, good question of the day for you. But that aside, type in your comments who you think the greatest boxer of all time is. But let's talk about basketball, Izzy. Do you have a screen you wanted to pull up? Are you able to pull up one on your side there?
Yeah, I got you. It was a pretty good game last night. So
it was.
Going.
It was a lot of fun. And we've been starting our TNAM daily shows. Let's see. Izzy shared the screen, add to the scene. Okay. Now, do you have the controls to... Do you see at the bottom of your screen, can you click on these little buttons and get different shapes? Or is that just me?
Yeah, it's just you.
Okay, so we'll put that down here. And then you could scroll so that it fits well.
All right. So
on it, we'll go, maybe that would be one way to, yeah, let's just do it that way for a minute.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the game. Obviously, Pacers won game one. On the road in Oklahoma City.
It's a hard thing to do. Super hard, especially in Oklahoma.
Because
realistically, there's not a lot of celebrities or huge people that's going to fly out to Oklahoma. It's a lot of hometown people that really love the team that are out there. And they actually implement the jersey wearing of like making an atmosphere for their team. So that was pretty awesome that the Indiana Pacers won game one.
And the way that they won.
Yeah, and arguably against one of the best teams in the league. I mean, like they have the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and also we're the number one seed in the West. And on only 14 teams, they've lost 14 times this season, and about one or two times in the playoffs, excluding this finals. So, I mean, statement win. That's how you start off the series. So,
yeah, I just feel robbed because I thought that the Cavaliers. I mean, they had 3 10-game winning streaks this season. I think at one point we won. What was it, 23 or 17? I forget exactly. We were crushing.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody got injured at the
year. I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, we were
y'all went undefeated.
Unstoppable.
Yeah,
It was
and then
supposed to be Cavs versus Thunder, and we got injured at the wrong time. Darius Garland had to have a toe surgery that was really messing his game up. He's going to miss the beginning of next season. Like, that's how serious of an injury it was. Donovan Mitchell, MVP candidate from Louisville, by the way. He played college ball here, same as Lamar Jackson. But yeah, he perennial MVP candidate. He was having an incredible season, but he had a couple of nagging injuries.
Mhm.
Evan Mobley got injured, defensive player of the year, and we couldn't get past the Pacers. They outmuscled us, and they brought that muscle last night too. I mean, geez, we're watching it live, and you're like, dude, they just blocked them three times in a row. Like, they just wanted it more, and they bullied the Thunder.
The way I put it is that they live up to their basketball name, the Indiana Pacers. They pace the whole game. They so much depth, so much players. It's unselfish basketball at the end of the day, and they just run with teams, and that's why I had them favored over the New York Knicks to win the Eastern Conference Finals and be pretty much the only team in the East that could combat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because if it were to be any other team in the East, healthy or not, Oklahoma.
Wait, hold on. You don't think the Cavaliers would have taken the Thunder down? Maybe you haven't watched enough Cavalier basketball, because the only special all year.
It's all right. It's just the guys. His name's Max Strus, and the other guy. They're pretty inconsistent. I like the De'Aaron Hunter pickup from this year.
DeAndre Hunter was good.
Yeah, he was good coming off of the bench. So, I mean, if the Cavs were healthy, they may have been that way, but they're more of a Shea would have tried to draw a lot more fouls because of their big man and who else is guarding them. But yeah, it would have been a fun series either way. Yeah. But I do believe the Indiana Pacers just have that depth and the kind of like young and experienced guy in Pascal Siakam and leading that team. So I believe they have the best odds. And as of 2-1, that shows. So
yeah, let me pull something up here. Let me grab the studio. Let me try it. God, we got so many different screens open. We'll try it this way. Actually, maybe try it almost that way. It's fun trying to set up the new dynamics here of the screen. We'll just go with this. A couple of notes on the game yesterday. I mean, look, you want to talk about depth. How about balance? Halliburton, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists, damn near a triple-double. Mathurin, 27 points, 9 from 12 on the field goal attempts, and Siakam, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. That's a tough. That's balanced. That's a strong attack. It's not a one-man show, because the Cavaliers were previously knocked for being a kind of a one-man show. Give it to Donovan, and it's 1-on-5 ball. But that changed this year when the Cavs were healthy. But you fall back into old patterns and old routines. But the Pacers get it done from a lot of different places.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I do believe that with the Indiana Pacers, like I said, Pascal is going to be consistent enough for you to compete to a certain extent. He'll give you 22 a night. I mean, he's been here before with the Toronto Raptors against the Warriors in the finals, and that Eastern Conference Finals against the 76ers with that game-winning shot. But the image you just pulled up with Miles Turner, it was a wild run. I think it was 6 minutes left in the game. Yeah. Miles Turner, he went down. Chet Holmgren, he blocked him about 3 times in a row. Went down, blocked, came back down, backed him down, bumped him in. Easy layup. Get in the weight room, goes back down. They do the same thing, and they just go on a run. And then next thing you know, they're up by 7 points. It's just team chemistry basketball. I'm not saying OKC doesn't have that team chemistry, but Indiana, they're just so connected with each other throughout the whole year. I don't believe OKC could compete with them for a whole 7-game series.
How much of it do you think is coaching? Because when the Cavs played the Pacers, the thing we kept going back to, Jared Allen is a heck of a player. He's one of the twin towers, Mobley, and look, he's great. But they said, he's soft. He's super soft. When it comes down to it, he gets muscled around, and he's not standing up for his guys. He's not being the bully. There's a way to be dirty. Draymond Green, and there's reckless players out there that are just dirty players. But being a bully is different than being reckless and just violent on the field, on the court. What do you make of the coaching? Because it just felt like they were coached better to be more aggressive, to stay more aggressive, reminded to in football, it's a game of inches.
So
Al
what I can
Pacino.
say about the coaching is I do have previous experience watching Rick Carlisle coach. He's a phenomenal coach. He's a coach of he used to be the former coach of the Dallas Mavericks for a bit because
Yeah.
I'm a Luka Doncic fan. And when Luka came into the league, it was Rick Carlisle for about a year after the bubble. He was coaching Luka, and that scheme it was a really good scheme. They didn't have the players to surround Luka around. Kristaps Porzingis, he was hurt often. Maxi Kleber, just inconsistent guys. It wasn't a lot. And but Rick Carlisle, like, he drew up the game plan around Luka Doncic and making it a team effort. That's why I think 2 years before, the year after they got bounced in the bubble against the Clippers, they played against the Utah Jazz in the playoffs. And that's when Jalen Brunson became the player he is today from the Dallas Mavericks. Rick Carlisle, he coached that up. And he knows how to get players into roles that they can play. And that's the main reason why we even had a somewhat decent run. So with him implementing his scheme into Indiana Pacers, I don't know exactly, but when you have a facilitator like Tyrese Haliburton, someone like Luka Doncic that used to do that, you have guys like Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith. Hold on, let me pull up the screen right quick.
Yeah, let's do that. By the way, while you look at the screen, here's a little fun fact. The Pacers are now 8-0 in the playoffs when Caitlin Clark is in attendance.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. That's pretty funny.
That's a strange little moment. But look, wherever she goes, she brings the energy. There's an extra energy, and you got to support the other teams in your city. Cleveland is perfect at that. They bring all their NBA players to the baseball playoffs, the football player, they show up for each other, and it's the right way to represent your city. It really is.
Yeah, 100%. So going back to talking about coaching, I'm on the stat sheet right here. So
is it a different? Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm on. It's still the same share screen. Okay. So here you have. So like I said, you have a facilitator like Tyrese Haliburton. If you watch Tyrese Haliburton's game, he's a pass first kind of guy. He doesn't go up and try to get the shot himself like certain people. But he's pass first. He's always looking for the extra pass. And you have someone like Andrew Nembhard, not one of his best games, but game one, he had a wonderful game. And then you have someone like Miles Turner. He could go out and score anytime. 3 for 11. That's not all that good, but he did produce on the defensive side late in the fourth quarter. Aaron Nesmith, someone else who's good. Well, like I said, looking at the depth and the bench players, you got guys like Obi Toppin, Benedict Mathurin, TJ McConnell, just people who you could bring in while the other team's tired and not their bench players not being as good as yours to come in and outpace you literally and keep the game competitive so they could keep trying to win that game. So Benedict Mathurin, he had a wonderful game. He's a scorer. When he came in his rookie year about 2-3 years ago, he was doing this a night. Every night he was giving you about 25 consistently. TJ McConnell, he's just a shorter Tyrese Haliburton, in my opinion. Shorter, more physical, faster Tyrese Haliburton. Pass first, he's looking for a pass. 5 steals. 5 steals from one person. That's wonderful. And then, like I said, Pascal Siakam, the veteran who's been here before, he knows what to do. 21, he'll give you that consistently pretty much almost every night. So with Rick Carlisle coaching this team is just a wonderful team to kind of build around Tyrese Haliburton, but to be an unselfish brand of basketball where everyone's looking to pass first. So I do believe that's their key to winning the game and limiting turnovers. Let's see here. They 4, 7, 9. They had around like 13, 14, somewhere around their turnovers. That's wonderful because the first game, they had 19 turnovers in the first half. And they still somehow managed to win that game. And that's the OKC's brand of basketball. If you come here, OKC, their starters played phenomenal. 20 points from Chet Holmgren. He did really good in the first half. 0 from 6 from 3-point. You can't do that in NBA Finals. 26 points from Jalen Williams. 1 for 2 from the 3-point range and 9 for 18. It's not a bad game. Like, there's stat watchers and there's people who actually watch the games. If you watch the games, you can see the impact certain players make, and it might not show up on the stat sheet. Jalen Williams, he was making pretty decent baskets to keep the game competitive. But late in the game, the 7 for 11 free throws, there were some clutch moments where he could have drilled some free throws or he was getting fouled. He could have knocked him down. And then Shai Gilgeous, 24, 5 from 6 from free throw, lower free throw average. And then usually what he gets a game, he averages like 12 free throws a game. Pretty good. plus minus a 3, -3. I mean, that's all right. But I mean, he's the MVP. That's a guy that you kind of need to rely on in this team because they're less team oriented basketball as the Indiana Pacers, and you need someone like your MVP to go out there and get you 30 points. He's the most valuable player of the basketball league, possibly somewhere around 8 assists and a couple rebounds, a couple steals, maybe something decent to keep him here. 6 turnovers, you really can't do that. You can't do that in NBA Finals. 2 fouls isn't that bad, but you should be expecting more from your MVP player in the NBA Finals rather than just giving you not me. I mean, this is pretty wonderful in any other standpoint, but somewhat mediocre for most valuable player. Then you have
Yeah.
Lou Dort, their 3-and-D player, 4 for 5, 4 from 8 from the field, all threes. I mean, that's what he's going to give you. Some defensive plays, no steals. I mean, that's whatever. Cason Wallace, this guy, I mean, he was running laps out on the court last night trying to guard Tyrese Halliburton. He really couldn't do it. Like I said, the bench players, you go here, 4, 8, and 6. You don't, that's 18 points off of the bench for OKC compared to the Indiana Pacers. What's this, like 30, 45 points, somewhere around there? I can't add it all up. I'm just going fast. But compared to that, to the OKC, you literally outpace. You have guys that could come in the game and keep it competitive rather than having to rely on one person and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and other guys going up trying to make points themselves instead of playing team-oriented basketball. So you can also put a point and emphasis that OKC is getting out-coached. Of course, yeah, they have the pieces. Their starting lineups is one of the best lineups in the game, but for Rick Carlisle to put that team together and literally have a role for everyone and have unselfish basketball rather than OKC having to rely on Shai Gilgeous and Chet Holmgren chucking up threes as a 7-footer, I do believe Indiana Pacers, they'll win the series 2-4 and get a game 6. So I do believe that. But that's my rundown of the game. That's how I look at it. Last night was a wonderful game. If you didn't get to watch it, you should watch the highlights, but it was pretty awesome. But yeah,
It's been a good playoffs. It's been a good NBA Finals so far. And by the way, to anybody else out there who's not following the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, I mean, it's 2-1. Florida leads. I mean, game 1 was overtime. Game 2 was double overtime. I mean, you're getting some exciting championship rounds, which is, end of the day, if you don't have a horse in the race, you just want to see something interesting. You want to see a good competition. And these are close games. I mean, look, the Thunder, they had control of this game. Not that they were 30 points up, but they had solid control several times. But we've seen it. You cannot sleep on the Pacers. They come back with a vengeance. And that's what we've learned about them.
Yeah, they keep throwing guys at you. They don't stop. They live up to the name. They literally, how Kenneth just said, Indiana pacemakers. They pace the game. They play the game, their own brand of game. They won't stop playing. They'll play hard all game long, and they're going to try to win that game at the end of the day. So,
couple of quick points here that I wanted to touch on, and then we will wrap this segment up. Yeah, Reggie Miller and Oscar Robinson sitting courtside together for Game 3. Yeah, I just love when the legends come back together. Now, you weren't alive when Reggie Miller was a menace, an absolute menace. But I mean, look, there was Patrick Ewing and John Starks. There was, Rick Smits and Reggie Miller. There were a lot of good Pacers, Knicks, Cavaliers, a lot of great teams in the East, but they had to keep running into Michael Jordan, who just always took them out.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see Reggie involved because Reggie had the heart of a champion. I mean, you've seen some highlights, but you didn't even know, man. He was cold-blooded out there, an absolute sharpshooter. He was like a Steph Curry before Steph.
Yeah, my dad said the same thing. Reggie Miller, all those guys, Ray Allen, they go out there. Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
So many great players, and they just get thwarted by legacy. When you run into somebody, it makes a difference. Bernie Kosar could have been one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He kept running into John Elway in the AFC Championship. He could have been a 2-time Super Bowl champion. His legacy is different.
Don't even get me started. What's that guy's name? Jim Kelly for the Bills. He went to the NFL Super Bowl 4 times in a row, and guess what? Lost all 4 times in a row. Imagine
do you know what the word Bills stands for?
No.
Boy, I love losing Super Bowls.
Yeah. Imagine if he won at least 1 or 2 of them. Imagine if he won all 4, he would have been in some crazy conversation. Like
100%
it's just
true.
that championship, at least one of them to cement your career. Even if you get it late on in your career as a veteran coming off the bench or just being a role player, that cements your career so much more. It makes it astronomically better than rather being like, oh, imagine if this guy got this, imagine if this guy got
Yeah, it does. This is NBA on ESPN put this out from June of 2022. I think when he was in Arizona. I don't think anybody is better than me, says Benedict Mathurin. I'm looking forward to his first game against LeBron. He says, I don't think anybody's better than me. LeBron is going to have to show me that he's better than me. And, you know,
I saw it like
I
two or
get that
three
energy.
years
I don't
ago.
think that's a clown take. It's like, look,
Yeah.
I'm coming in with the energy. Like, I want to dominate. Of course, I have no
That,
problem with that. But
that game he had
he's
20
leading
points.
the
I remember that.
Pacers in scoring in the finals right now, in the finals
Yeah.
game. So it's like he's putting it up, you know, showing,
Mhm.
which is pretty cool.
I
Sorry,
remember
you
that
were
like
trying to
2
chime in
years
with the
ago.
point there. I kept going. What were you saying?
I said I remember that exact post like 2-3 years ago. Because he was balling. Like I said, his rookie year, he was balling. He was dropping like 20, 30 points consistently a game. And then he came out, he's like, I believe, like, wait till I play LeBron. Like, I believe I'm better than him. I mean, as a professional sports player, you got to have that kind of confidence. So I like that about his game. Like, he's one of the more consistent people in a game.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely. And this was the final point I wanted to make, and then we'll pivot over to hard news today, cover the rest of the stories that our audience is usually used to. We usually reserve long segments like this for the unhappy hour focused programs. But hey, you know who I am. I'm a sports guy and a news guy. But take a look at this post. This is how can I full screen this even bigger? Is there a way to can I make this bigger? Here, let me just take the let me go full screen. There we go for just a second, so it's easier to look at. So the post here says, yeah, the NBA is boring now. No, it's not. So 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Do you see this run of LeBron James being the Eastern Conference champ?
yeah.
Do you understand how ridiculous this is?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, it's beyond pretty crazy. Like, when's the last time someone did 2, 4, 6, 8 years in a row
No.
in the championship? Like but that's what Michael Jordan used to do. He took 2
Michael
years
Jordan,
off when
OP.
the Houston Rockets won back to back with Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. Great teams down there.
I believe though, I forgot what she said. The post said like it's more boring today. I would say it's more diverse in who's going there to win a championship rather than it just being LeBron each year. But I do believe a lot of the NBA fan base, they do believe that Adam Silver, he's not that great of a commissioner. That I don't remember the former commissioner's name. He was a wonderful
David
commissioner.
Stern.
Yeah, David Stern. He was a wonderful commissioner. Supposedly, like he did everything perfectly for the NBA. As a person, not so well, but everything NBA wise, he was wonderful. But I think it's just Adam Silver getting backlash of how he's conducting the NBA and the direction it's going. Because a lot of people they're like, oh, there's a lot of European superstars, not a lot of American superstars. But I do like the diversity of the game now. It's a lot of you never know who's going to do it. Like 2 or 3 years ago when the Warriors won the championship with Curry, they were supposed to be rebuilding that year and they beat the Celtics. Who would have expected that? Not me. I wouldn't have expected that, but that was pretty awesome. So, I mean, I do like it. Like the Indiana Pacers, small market teams, OKC, they got a shot at an NBA championship, and one of them
Yeah.
wasn't good this year. So
I love that.
I
When
like
it's my Cavaliers,
just being repetitive of the same person over and over again. Not discrediting his accomplishments. I mean, like he did that to get there. I mean, it's not his fault, but I mean, like it's wonderful to see this like new age in basketball.
yeah, when it's my Cavaliers, I want the four-peat. I
Yeah.
want my team to just win every single championship, obviously.
That's
And
everybody.
by the way, what's that?
I said that's everybody in their team.
It
They
is.
wish
It
that,
is.
yeah.
But you know, look, in 2015, if Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love didn't get injured right before the finals, we would have won that. And then we win 2016. I don't think Durant signs with the Warriors if they don't have a championship under their belt. Then I think we get those next two, and that's a four-peat. And Jordan never did a four-peat. He did 2 3-peats. And the whole legacy conversation, greatest of all time, changes. But of course, there are a lot of hypotheticals involved there. But
Yeah.
shit, LeBron with nobody but Tristan Thompson and Matthew Dellavedova made it a 6-game series somehow.
Yeah, I saw some Matthew Dellavedova and TJ McConnell comparisons last night. It was pretty funny. But also super teams like that Warriors team with KD, Clay, and Curry. Today, that team would be manageable. Like you can see a team like the Celtics. I mentioned it last night. Derek White, you have a 6 and 7 guy coming off the bench. One game this year, they combined for 80 points, 84 points together. There's no other bottom option. That's like literally your number one franchise guy that can go out there and give you that. Backups on the bench that do that, that's uncalled for. So luckily they did implement a new rule where it's like certain accolades and certain stats that a player puts up, they're subject to a certain amount of money, and that leads you to not being able to keep more than 1 or 2 superstars on the team. So I do believe that's great, and that's why OKC this year and next year it's going to be their opportunity to win a championship, because if they don't, Jalen Williams, the guy who really hasn't been showing up for him, he was an all-star, and he's subject to a lot of money. Same thing with Shai Gilgeous. He's looking at so much money per year. And they're not going to be able to keep that team because they still have Chet Holmgren, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, guys that they got to pay, and that they won't be able to build that super team. And if you look at their draft picks for the next 10 years, they have about 20 draft. It's crazy. They have so much draft capital from that Paul George, James Harden, Kevin Durant, just Russell Westbrook, trading all those guys away. They have so much draft capital. So they can draft, trade, do whatever they want. But that's the difference between now and then with, like, say, looking at Kobe and Shaq, or Michael Jordan, or even the Warriors, that teams, they can't keep these guys, and that's forcing them to go to other teams, which is where you get this diversity from, as you can see on this little thing right here, that you can build teams around certain players, pick them up when they're in their peak, and like pretty much make them your franchise player after that day. So
yeah, it's interesting
pretty cool,
how much draft capital the Thunder have been able to acquire.
Yeah.
And they say about the Indians the same thing. You get some players, and then you trade them at their peak, and you collect all the resources, and then you rebuild. You
stay in that rebuild phase, like in the purgatory. Like you just stay in the same place over.
Well, but you could either rebuild, you could crash out and have to rebuild, or you could reload. So I think what what the Thunder are doing with the youth, with enough draft picks, and what the Indians have always done, it's just kind of like you reload. You stay competitive. You trade somebody at top value. You get a couple prospects back. If you hit on 2 or 3 prospects, then guess what? You're right back in it, and you have a championship window where you can make the finances work before you got to give them the big payday.
Yeah, you gotta win it in that one.
Yeah. David here says he's a Bills fan. He knows.
Yeah.
Boy, I love
they lost to my Cowboys like twice. So I'm a Cowboys fan, unfortunately, but yeah, the Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin days, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, those I rooted. I liked Emmitt Smith. I liked those teams a lot. Yeah. Kenneth says he's kind of a Buccaneers fan now. I'm a Buck fan too. I like Baker.
Yeah, I like Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans. That's a wonderful team.
Kenneth said, "What happened to short shorts in sports?" Yeah, the John Stockton era. Let's see. Amber, Amber's jumping in saying, "Is he?"
What's up, Amber?
Yeah, we got people. Saying hello. But yeah, Eastern Conference champion. Look at that real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. It's the Raptors, the Heat, Milwaukee. I'm sorry, I'm going from I should say the Bucks. So Raptors, Heat, the Bucks, the Celtics, the Heat again, the Celtics again, and now the Pacers. That is so much variety there since LeBron is gone.
It's kind of weird. I mean, it's diversity, but that Eastern Conference championship with the Heat, back to back, it was like 4 times the Heat played the Celtics in the Eastern Conference championship, and they were going back to back to back to back, and they can never pull it out on their side.
Absolutely, is he so grown up? I know.
Yeah,
Kenneth, is he or is he? Is he or is he?
I don't know.
Yeah. Kenneth is the master of wordplay. All right, so cool. We're gonna probably, hey, if all goes well, we might get to celebrate a Pacers championship while you're here.
I'm not a big OKC fan. I'm not a Shai Gilgeous fan, but yeah, I'm rooting for the Pacers.
I said about Shai 2 different games now. He ain't that guy. I told you that before the fourth quarter play, and I'm like, he's not that guy. Not that he can't be. He's just not there yet. You can see that he's not there yet.
Your MVP can't play like that. Like, yeah, he's not there. Yeah, he still has time to develop his game 100%, like develop a 3 ball and a whole bunch of other stuff. But he's not like you can't You could build a team around him, but it's hard. It's very hard to build a team around him because he's so self-oriented and less selfish. Because
Yeah.
a lot of the great players today, they're playmakers. They know how to read a court and pass the ball, get an assist, make the team, implement their team. That makes great players, and he doesn't do that a lot. So yeah, I don't.
Like LeBron.
Yeah,
LeBron
Doncic,
often criticized for being a facilitator, but he's the best all-around player the NBA's ever produced. He loves playing point forward. He loves passing it to wide open people to take the shot. It's like, bro, you wouldn't be on my team if I didn't trust you to take the shot. I throw you the ball, and you got the
You
space.
better make that shot. You get paid that money to make that shot. Literally.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, but some players get like they get gun shy about it. They get and he's had to coach all these. He's like, I don't care. Take the miss the shot, whatever. If you have a good shot and it's the best shot that we're getting on this possession,
we're gonna live with it.
Taking it every single time. If it's a good shot, shoot it. Don't second guess yourself. It needs to be reflexive.
Yeah.
So
that's what. Did you watch the NCAA championship? College, the Final Four. Yeah. Did you watch that?
Florida versus
Houston.
Who did they beat? Who was it?
Houston.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Did you see that final shot? The dude he had the ball. He hesitated the shot, and then he jumped. Because the defender came at him. If he were to go up with the shot the first try, it would have. Who cares where the shot would have been? It would have been a foul, and he hesitated. He sold his own bag. So, I mean, like, it's whatever. He never hesitated. Did
you say he sold his own bag?
Yeah. Oh man, I was mad at it. I mean, even though I'm not a fan, I'm just like, how do you do that in that situation? Like, be confident in yourself. Like, be the star player. So,
I mean, that's the Gen Z phrase, right? Shoot your shot.
Yeah,
shoot
literally.
your shot.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's literally shoot your shot. You got a shot, shoot it. Don't second. Just you got to let it rip. In sports and in life, you just got to shoot your shot. All right, cool. Well, we will bring you back in on a future show. We're going to talk about the rest of the news happening today. And any final words to everybody in the chat or about the series or anything in general?
Nothing much. Thank you for having me on the show. I like it a lot. I get a little experience like talking in front of people. I built that confidence up in talking in front of. It's not like I'm afraid or anything. It's just getting used to it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. I like talking like this. It's pretty awesome.
Heck yeah! Well, did a great job. What's that?
I said thank you for having me though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks for joining. And yeah, we might bring you in to discuss the current events in the news on a future episode. This was getting things settled, and now you kind of understand the studio and all the buttons and the layout and the whole process. And yeah. We're going to pivot now and talk about other stuff. Should people follow you anywhere? Do you have a presence online anywhere?
No, I do not.
You're like, no, do not follow me anywhere. You follow me, I'm going to turn over my shoulder and go, why the hell are you following me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, stay tuned. We might bring Izzy back tomorrow. We shall see how it goes. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Yeah, is he cool? Yes, I am cool. Thank you, Kenneth. But yeah. Thank you for having me.
Is he cool? He's cool. All right. To be continued, Izzy.
Yeah, to be continued. Thank you for having me.
All right, there he goes, everybody. Ezrael Robinson, my buddy from Los Angeles. Yeah, he is so grown up. God, it took me like a full day to get used to that voice. I knew him from 5 years old. 5 years old. Yes, voices change from 5 years old to almost 18 now. Good grief. It's wild. But yeah, he's got a bit of an encyclopedic knowledge of sports. So I thought that would be a really fun way to get the show going. Yeah, I know. You want people to follow you anywhere? It's like, no. You start following me, I'm going to call the cops. It's so funny. Because really, in like the 80s or 90s, you say, are you following me? Be like, don't you follow me? And now it's like, bro, you follow me? I got a Twitch account with 17 subscribers. You got to follow me. Yeah, it's just funny how things change. All right, here, let's do this. Let's make a pivot. Pivot. I'll change the virtual background back to our studio setting. And let's unpack the news. Thank you, everybody who's watching out there. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show to your friends. We appreciate your participation. All right, let's go into our Instagram feed, shall we? Let's share this screen and talk about what's happening in the universe. We'll get to the airplane crash. Yikes. You saw that story. Of course, Izzy hasn't flown a lot, and now he's like, There's a huge air crash in the news. Maybe we shouldn't talk about that too much. Get some Final Destination action going. All right, going through the news, let's talk about this. We are seeing nationwide riots because it's very AstroTurf. It's very coordinated. Let me put your chats back on. I'm sorry, guys. There we go. Put your chats back up here. I'm not used to having a guest in the studio. I've been doing it solo for so long now. Yeah, that's a funny thing. It's like I did years of shows with Blake, and it's like you're Blake Wally, and we're like totally set with our rhythm, our dynamic, the spacing and the screens and the flow of the show. You're going to lead, I'm going to do this, or I'll lead, then you do this, or you. Yeah, it's all just, it's fun. Like he said, it's like the experience of doing it is fun. And yeah, I've been doing it for several years now. But still, I have to remind myself without a producer. It's like, oh, wait, I'm the producer. How's the screen look? Is it the right dynamics, the right shapes? All right. But yeah, we're seeing nationwide riots, very AstroTurfed, very funded, very coordinated. It's very lame. But they're doing what they're doing. So Katie Davis Court says DHS police just fired endless rounds of crowd control munitions at Antifa rioters in Seattle. Several arrests made after Antifa launched an attack on the federal building. Let's go. I mean, I'm watching this. I don't know why these people aren't getting hogtied. Like, why aren't we just arresting these people? It's just, isn't there something you could, if it's too hard to get somebody in cuffs, isn't there like a band you could whip around them that would tighten and just lock them in place? I don't know. Maybe I've watched too many cartoons. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Now they're going at it, and now they're arresting them. This is what you have to do. You have to get the most brazen, most violent, most stupid people. And mess around. This is Seattle. It's New York. It's yeah, and I know there's no such thing as endless rounds of munitions, but this is a lot of rapid fire. Mess around, find out. Yeah, what is that? A Middle Eastern headscarf. What are these? Covering their face for some reason. Who else? They need to be a little bit more aggressive in their arresting. You got to take them to the ground. You got to hog time. You got to get that first band, hook their ankles, hook their hands, wrap them up, tie them to a tree, hold them in place for later. You don't have to do everything at once. You just got to immobilize them, wrap them to a tree. That was the main thing I was screaming after the Floyd situation was he's got his hands cuffed. And if someone's freaking out, just wrap them around the car tire, walk away, let them fly, let them do what they're going to do. But like, you don't need to keep applying pressure. You don't need to keep choking. You don't need to keep pushing. Just immobilize them and tie them to a tree, wrap them around the car tire, hook them to a bicycle, like do something to immobilize them, wrap them around the handle of the front door of the building that's getting attacked. But just standing here dancing with a really weak protester here, take him to the ground, get the cuffs on, immobilize him, move on from this person to the next person. But this wrestling with you kind of stuff, I don't know. I'm once again calling on every police force to make it mandatory for Brazilian jiu-jitsu training. That was the other thing I learned after Minneapolis was, there's a lot of people that don't know the best ways to restrain and to take people down. It's just a useful skill that everybody should have. So I'm watching this, looking for technique and lack of technique. I'm seeing 100 things I wish they weren't doing. Well, this is Seattle, people. That's Seattle. Yeah, mostly peaceful, the comments there. Mostly peaceful. And you know what? Look, Mantooth says use live rounds. These are terrorists. I mean, you know, aim for the face. It helps tremendously. 5 lethal shots will make a point and change minds. I mean, this is like people have had enough. They don't want to see a repeat of 2020, but they're trying like hell. Trump's approval rating is through the roof. The economy's doing great. He's cutting deals, really leaning heavy to try to stop some of these global conflicts, although haven't been able to stop Ukraine, Russia, haven't been able to stop Israel, Palestine. Was able to put some pressure on India, Pakistan pretty quick, which was very helpful. Although when there's a big explosion in the air, this close to them having an attack and almost popping off into a war, you have to wonder, is it possible that the Air India flight that went down was related to some lingering warfare going on? Don't know. But yeah, the comments, can't someone hand one of these cops Alec Baldwin's prop gun? And this is what they want. They're trying to make a martyr. I think unfortunately that's what's going on. Whether these people realize it or not, I think well, yeah, tie him to a tree. What, Amber? Yes, tie him to a tree. Look, if you can get somebody restrained in cuffs, you loop the cuff, wrap a tree, zip tie it, you're stuck there. You're on a tree. We got other things to deal with. You're stuck there. Now, the problem is they could still reach into their pockets and might be able to get another weapon and like, I understand. But haven't we evolved? Haven't we figured out summer of peace? Summer of piece of crap. Oh, that's so funny. I don't pay attention to the news news like ever. What are they protesting? There's a professional protest outrage culture, Amber. It's Antifa, it's BLM, it's Black Bloc, not BlackRock, yeah, Black Bloc. It's the RevComs, Revolutionary Communists. The person that was shown handing out a few tens of thousands of dollars of face shields in Los Angeles at the riots a couple days ago, he's part of a revolutionary communist commune trying to overthrow the United States government to implement communism. That's where the communists kill the successful people, steal their stuff. They say, hey, we're all going to be equals. And then they end up killing all of their useful idiots that helped them get that power. Then they become the dictators they were crying about. It's the cycle of communism. Communism, Marxism, Leninism, Stalinism, globalism. It's the same shit. It's a consolidation up to the top. But they want to be at the top while claiming, we want to steal from them. They make too much money and then give it to everybody. Yeah. And then they become the dictators that they were crying about. It's a cycle. It's a hamster wheel. Specifically, they're saying that immigration and custom enforcement shouldn't be a thing. You know, just like if you live at a house or a condo or an apartment, you shouldn't have a lock on your door. You should walk away from your car, but not lock your doors. You know, everybody should have access to everything, man. Peace, love. It's all good, man. Everybody should just come and go as they please, man. Meanwhile, you look at the migrant crime, all of the unfortunate rapes, murders, the child trafficking, the theft, the vandalism, the attacks, just so much criminality. Because all you have to do is have a bouncer check your ID, you run the scan, and you're like, oh, you're a dirtbag, you're a convicted murderer from Venezuela. Adios, muchachos. You know, you should be screening all these people out. But Joe Biden, Barack Hussein Obama, and the people who run that administration, because it wasn't Biden. Biden was out to lunch. We're going to tell you about the Autopen scandal. We have some updates. There will be people testifying in Congress about how were 8,000 pardons given out, since Joe Biden can't even spell his name right. He can't change his depends. He doesn't know what kind of ice cream he wants from day to day, but he's running the country. His staffers were selling pardons is the allegation. So maybe that'll be brought out. But they're saying the frustrations that ICE was arresting people. Well, Dr. Phil did a whole episode on this. I'm going to play you a segment in a moment about the specific ICE raid that sparked this latest outrage, air quote outrage. And it's like, oh, well, they've been here for a long time. You shouldn't deport them. It's like, hey, cool, you snuck into the concert and you've been here a long time. I've been here for like a bunch of hours, man. I watched like 6 bands. You can't like kick me out now. Yes, we can. Show me your wristband. Papers, please. Where's your wrist? Did you buy a ticket? Oh, no, you snuck in. Okay. Well, I'm not going to punch you in the face. I'm not going to choke you out. I'm not going to put a bullet in the back of your head. We're going to escort you out. You know, we're not going to abuse you in the process, but you're going to be escorted out. You can then go to the front of the line again and buy a ticket and do it the right way if you'd like to walk through the front door, but you broke in through the back door, and I don't trust people that break in through the back door. It's that easy. That's all immigration is about. And anyone who wants to make it convoluted and, oh, think of the children. Come on. Come on. So that's the Autopen almost overheated. 8,000. It was 4 times higher than what Obama did at 2,000 pardons. It was way more than what Trump did. Obama was 4 times the 500 Trump did. And then Biden, the puppet, with Obama and his team puppeting Biden behind the scenes, 4 times that, 8,000 pardons. So a lot of these pardons are going to be overturned, and I want to start with Anthony Fauci, who I hold directly responsible for the death of my mother and my brother. So my name is Inigo Montoya. Anthony Fauci, you offed half of my family. Prepare for justice. Yeah, that's from Princess Bride. So we're going to hopefully overturn some of that stuff. Yeah, it almost overheated. How much longer before something is done with these criminals? Yeah, I know. 100%. Like, what are we doing? We're going to find out. And this weekend is going to be a big find out moment, I think. So they're planning 5,000 nationwide riots, protests. No, they're riots. How much damage can we cause? How much, they think that's the only way you get your point across. It's the opposite. You want to have a peaceful protest? That's one thing. And President Trump they drilled down on that because President Trump said about the 250th anniversary of the Army this weekend, a big parade and Trump's birthday, and they're doing like kind of combining it together, the 250th Army anniversary. He made a comment about something about like, and if you're a protester, we're not going to tolerate it. So then the follow-up was like, well, wait a minute, you can protest. He's like, yeah, he can protest. We just don't want the violent protests. But of course we know that's what they're talking about. What's up, Bella? Bella in the Bay? Bella in the Cape. There we go. Bella in the Cape. So we'll see. All right, let's get to some more videos here, see what's happening. So that's Seattle. Here was an interesting study that was done. Jack Posobiec, I was a guest on his program with Real America's Voice last year in the Bronx. I'm not seeing who did this study, but it's showing here there is more diversity of thought on the political right than the political left. Look at this. Let me change the screen so you can see this. So they're showing these data points. I don't know who did this theory. It's a visual representation of the extracted attitude network, revealing a distribution of 40 attitudes into 2 clusters. Dark blue is a strong disagreement. Pale blue is moderate disagreement. Gray is neutral. Orange is moderate agreement. Red is strong agreement. 2 attitude clusters depicting latent Democrat and Republican red belief systems. So you got Democrats, you fall in line, and it's like, how do I go full screen here? Full screen. But you see this, it's almost like a star down here. The blue line of acceptable thought, it's like you have to get in line and repeat as I say, 2 + 2 = 5. If you read George Orwell's 1984, you recognize that phrase. 2 + 2 = 5. It doesn't make sense, but you need to say it to be on our team. And you need to believe it. It's not so much to say it, you have to actually believe it. Oh, there we go. That made it bigger even. That was as big as the full screen. I guess I could do it that way. But look at that. Look at all these divergent, all these data points, these clusters on different questions. Look at the right. Look at the red. A lot of variety in there because all you got to be is a common sense human to be on the right. Just, I don't know. You want to balance your checkbook? Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you want more business and more people working? Yeah, that's great. You want more freedom and more liberty? Yeah, that's good. I don't know. Should you lock your car door, lock your front door to your house, and lock your country, and have a bouncer at your nightclub checking IDs so that people are paying their cover, showing ID, proving they're allowed to be in the place they're trying to get into, your home? your establishment, that you're responsible for the actions of the people on the inside. But within that, those basic components, look at all the variety of ideas. There's a lot of diversity of thought on the right. On the left, you just get in line, and it's like once you know somebody has been brainwashed by the leftist cult, you're going to know where they stand on the other 20 big issues of the day. And guess what? They're usually on the wrong side of the 80-20 issues. 80% of the country is like, oh, yeah. But like the deep blue Democrats, they're like, no, I have to oppose that. We're going to take the craziest potential solution. It's like, why? Who is running? How did you become such a party of comedy? Like, where do you get all these backward ideas that men should be beating up on girls in sports, or you should be mutilating children? I read a comment from Jenny somewhere. It's so hard for me to remember. Am I on Instagram, Facebook? Am I on Truth Social? Am I on X? Am I on Rumble? Am I on YouTube? I'm everywhere. She said, yeah, that's so stupid, mutilating little kids or anybody before 18, really. It's like, one day, I love blueberries. So you go out and get blueberries. The next day, I don't like blueberries anymore. Huh? You loved them yesterday. I want to change my gender. You can't change your sex. You're born how you're born. Yeah, but I want to change it. Then the next day, hi, did I say that? That's why you don't do that stuff. So this is super interesting to me. Just the diversity of thought. Very interesting to me. Not surprising. Atlas Society shared this. I'm helping end violence in other countries. I aided the purple berries. Tastes like burning. Actually, that's the quote I want to leave here. Can I click this and I'm just gonna say tastes like burning. Tastes like burning button. Oh, Ralph Wiggum. All right. Yeah, you're not helping. Yeah, that helps end violence in other countries, burning our country. No, it doesn't. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Okay, let's listen to RFK Jr. Or should I just here? I'll just here. I'll do it. I'll do it on mute. Let's go side by side. Can almost, yeah. This will work. Here we go. A compliant child must take between 69 and 92 vaccines to stay in school in some states, and not one of them has been safety tested in a pre-licensing placebo-controlled trial. And that is just malpractice. So now the people who are in charge of that are now gone. So Bobby Kennedy has removed the people who were making these decisions. Not one of these has been done in a safety-tested, pre-licensing, placebo-controlled trial, and that's just malpractice. That's why those people are gone. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Donald. MAGA. Maha. I'm very happy about this. Okay. Ricky Lynn has this point. This is a pretty interesting point, I think. She says they're framing this perfectly. There's a plan in place for years of open borders. Trump, the king and dictator. They allowed complete destruction. And the moment we fought back, we had January 6th. They're setting this up the same way. If Trump does nothing, we watch cities burn. If he does something, they'll set up to remove him again for false flags they created based off of his actions. This is Marxism and communism. People like Gavin Newsom and Murphy are nothing but bad actors, villains from Gotham City. Yep, it's a repeat of the playbook. President Trump was out at the Kennedy Center. He was asked about people potentially boycotting.
It's been reported that some actors may be boycotting tonight?
I couldn't care less, honestly. I couldn't. All I do is run the country well. The economic numbers, you saw them today, they're setting records. We took $88 billion in tariffs in 2 months, far beyond what anybody expected. There's no inflation. People are happy. People are wealthy. The country.
And by the way, that's pretty much what was happening, minus the massive tariff windfall in 2019, before they intentionally unleashed the COVID bioweapon on humanity. Under duress, go find countervailing views on anything regarding health and elections. Go to cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control to go find countervailing views on the things Bobby Kennedy just said about vaccines and the things I just said about Fauci and communist China and the deep state intentionally unleashing COVID as a bioweapon on the world to make sure they could get rid of Trump. They want you to know there's countervailing views to that, and that they are correct, and that I am not, and Bobby Kennedy's not, and Trump is not. And you are wrong. They think everybody's wrong except them. Once again, 80% understand water is wet. 20% want you to read their countervailing views about their manipulation, lies, and propaganda. So go visit. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to take this off the screen now. But yeah, the Trump economy was doing awesome until they unleashed the bioweapon intentionally.
Back to strength.
Don't call it a lab leak. No one's proven to me that was accidental. Felt very intentional from the moment it happened.
Again, that's what I care about. And we're going to have a safe country. We're not going to have what would have happened in Los Angeles. Remember, if I wasn't there, if I didn't act quickly on that, Los Angeles would be burning to the ground right now. Thank you.
So there you go. MAGA button. Make America great again. Super based. All right. Greg Abbott. Governor Greg Abbott of Texas being asked what defines crossing the line if you're a protester. Kristen Sokolov reporting this.
Define what is like crossing the line for those who they don't know, like what is the crossing line in protest?
That leads to FAFO?
Oh, you mean the thing that leads to FAFO? Mess around and find out.
Violating the law. You break the law, you cross the line, you will be arrested. I was a little bit clearer about this last night in my post last night, and that is there is freedom of speech. However, if in your protest you damage somebody's property or you harm an individual, that's violating the law, and you will be arrested for it.
Last question. Can you define what is like?
Yeah, so it's time that they find out. It's pretty obvious. The criminal Democrats and anarchists, they know it too. It's time they find out. They were allowed to just run roughshod for years. You know, that 2020 riots were just brutal. So stupid. Okay, President Trump reporting that our deal with China is done. Subject to final approval with President Xi and me. Full magnets. Okay. He likes his magnets. And any necessary rare earth materials will be supplied. What's this say? See post. Supplied up front by China. Likewise, we will provide to China what was agreed to, including Chinese students using our colleges and universities, which has always been good with me. We are getting a total of 55% tariffs. China is getting 10%. Relationship is excellent. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I love how he ends that. I'm actually going to put that. Thank you for your attention to this matter button. It's such a great catchphrase. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So we'll see. He says the deal with China is done. Scott Adams was discussing, like, well, no, it's not done. They have the framework in place so that they could get close to finalizing. It's not quite there, but it's close to there, which, you know, could be a pretty good thing. We'll see what they actually do with fentanyl, though. David saying they need to move now and fast before more shit happens. Hey, it's going to happen on Saturday. Saturdays, guys, buckle up. Have a plan in place for Saturday. I have a plan to be out and about, so I hope we don't end up in the middle of some chaos. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. FAPCS, F around and pay child support. Yeah, so no effing around. You go effing around, you're going to be creating child support. That was funny. All right, next story. Reports out of Los Angeles say that a man is placing MAGA stickers. Here, let me... there we go. Right Angle News Network reports out of Los Angeles say a man is placing MAGA stickers on protesters' cars in an attempt to make them turn on each other and destroy one another's vehicles. Care reacts only. Whether that's true or not, that is funny. You've heard of this happening, and it is pretty great. That is one of the best ways to let karma loop back around. All right, NYPD, they're you know, it's popping off over there, but they're not messing around. Running over these idiots in the road. Stay out of the road, idiots. And who's getting arrested?
Let's get on the sidewalk. We're all under arrest.
More arrests, please, button. That's how you stop it. You just quickly get in there and you don't let it get out of control, because it's going to get way, 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 way worse. You have plans not to be out and about on Saturday. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I'm hosting a friend, so I'm not going to live in fear. But, you know, I mean, are we going to? I know. But we have reservations and plans, and we have a gathering and a meeting and a thing in place. So I'm doing it. You know? Yeah, the smart thing is to not be out and about and around on Saturday. But once again, if we change our way of life, the terrorists win, right? Oh, do you want to see the best video of the day? Oh, is this great? It is. America is so back. What is the context? I'm not seeing what city this is. So this guy's assaulting officers. Watch him. This guy here. He's going to throw something. Watch what happens. Does this one have the music? I got to be careful with the music. This is you're not messing around in my state. Oh, that is so American. Stand up with your back. You're not doing this crap. You're not there. Not here. I am so happy watching this. The little boys. Attack. I'm gonna hire him. I'm gonna find this guy to put the middle linebacker. Brown. Daniel Penny, Kyle Rittenhouse energy, not messing around. Straight out of WWE. I mean, is it just me, or did you watch this on an endless loop? I probably watched it out of control. Another version I watched was it was set to read. Oh, much. Look at how tough. Hey, now, man. Yeah. Right. Guys, I really could watch this for a few hours. My Saturdays have become sat all days. I sat around all day. All right, I got to go away from this story, but God, is this glorious to watch. The fuck out of here. Ugh. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard chiming in on the orchestrated Los Angeles riots, saying this didn't
come up out of nowhere. We had 4 years under the Biden administration of open borders that was very intentional by the Democrats. They thought it would help them politically, but there were vested interests as well in the cartels who profited heavily from human trafficking and drug trafficking, and who see the American people in our country as a new consumer base for their illicit trafficking. First Amendment says, yes, we each have a right to peacefully protest, sure. But also under the Biden administration, they were the ones who were censoring free speech, who were trying to tell us what we were allowed to say and where and what topics, and who were targeting American citizens for exercising our fundamental constitutional rights. The bottom line is they don't care about the American people. They don't even care about the people that they're claiming to protest for. So many of them are paid protesters. This thing is being orchestrated, obviously, in many ways. And ultimately, President Trump is the one who took action to keep the American people safe and try to bring peace back to the streets that these rioters are destroying. This didn't come up out of nowhere. We had 4 years under the Biden administration of open borders that was very intentional by the Democrats. They thought it would help them politically, but there were vested interests as well in the cartels who profited heavily from human trafficking and drug trafficking, and who see the American people in our country as a new consumer base.
All right. Yep. These Instagram ones, they spin right back into what you just watched so quickly. But yeah, Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, we need to find the funders and we need to indict these people ASAP. Like, it's time. Just have to make it happen. Got to go get the people that are pulling the puppet strings with the useful idiots on the ground. Oh, is this the one that has the music set to it? Oh, this is a longer version.
Whoa! Stop! Jesus, you just hit me! I just got hit with the left lethal.
Yeah, you might get hit if you're standing around that. I don't know. Bobby Boucher.
Sorry, I got hit with the left lethal. I'm okay.
Shows no mercy.
That's what the Kevlar is for. I have Kevlar tights on under my pants, so it didn't penetrate anything.
Penetrate anything? I could tell some jokes. I love that he takes the nominee roles.
Whoa! Stop! Jesus, you just hit me! I just got hit with the left lethal.
That just... America is rising up button. Oh, that's so nice. Ugh. Yeah, gave him like a Goldberg spear. I really could watch this all day. I got to be careful not to, because I just... Don't let your cities get taken over by dirtbags. Lock them up, throw them in the cage. So sick of this crap. So sick of it. Okay, we have a report here. And I'm very curious about this. This story really bugs me. I don't have all the details. 72-hour rule. We don't know what we don't know, right? But they're saying, the New York Post is reporting, amid an ongoing investigation over the fatal stabbing of high school student Austin Metcalf at a Frisco, Texas track meet, the school district announced that it has surveillance footage of the stabbing. Okay, so where is it? Texas school district won't publicly release the video. Demand the release of the video button. It's a national case. It's very important. Are they trying to hide something? Is it a cover-up? Why are we just now learning this? Oh, there's a question. Okay, here's a question from the comments section that I want to ask if you agree or disagree. If the races were reversed, would that footage have been released from the day it happened? If the races were reversed, would that footage have been released day one? That's what a commenter says. So, if the races were reversed, that footage would have been out by now and we would have all seen it. If the races were reversed. Agree or disagree with that commenter? Type it in the comments. Agree, it would have been out if the roles were reversed. So we'll see. Got to turn the pressure up. Got to demand we get that video. We need to see what happened. Release the damned video button. All right, so here's the story everyone's talking about. This is Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner flying from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick, according to Errol Weber, U.S., crashed shortly after takeoff with at least 242 passengers on board. The pilot reported experiencing engine trouble shortly before the crash. Not usual flight pattern. I'm assuming it's kind of like plummeting, falling out of sight. What? We are at the phase where almost everything is captured on video. And it says likely that it could be released. What? I'll do prayers for peace and strength to all impacted. So that's a big story. On X, we're going to unpack what we think we know. Here we go. Set the music. Let it go. It's just so nice set to music. I can't play it. I can play little clips. Yes, hi. This is the FAFO hotline. We said this hour-long video seemed a little excessive, but it kept me compelled the whole time. And we asked to like this post so we can get daily notifications to come back and watch this. And this is, kids, what a real man does. Yeah, so funny. He thinks he can just do that and walk away. Great tackle. This wins the internet, yes. His coach and his parents will be proud. He needs a Congressional Medal of Honor. It's about time we rise and protect our amazing country. 10 for 10. 10 out of 10. Perfect takedown. Yeah, what was that flew out? When he gets tackled, what is that that explodes off of him? Someone asks, was that a gun? Sunglasses? I mean, I think it was in his hand. It's not in his hand. Oh, or did he reach in and grab something? I don't know what that was. Was that a gun? No, it came from the right side of the frame. One of the officers probably threw something. No, I mean car keys. I don't know. It fell out when his pants started sagging down. He's reaching. He reaches in and grabs something from a holster, it looked like. Left hand. Right there. See, it's up. But there's nothing in his hand. Is there? Yeah, it just shoots out from... I don't know what that is. And, sir, you lost your pants in the takedown. Sign this dude off for the NFL. Karen Bass most likely has an arrest warrant out for the tackler. It's my favorite video of the day. A Walkman? Yeah, maybe a Walkman. All right. Oh, this post was great. Here's life in Los Angeles. Maybe we'll have Izzy on tomorrow to talk about it since he's been living in Los Angeles. That's where we lived right next to each other. Is how I met him.
There is nothing better than Los Angeles, bro. This is where heaven touches the earth. Straight up. Nothing better, bro. Just don't look over here, though, because there is a riot going down right now. They are kind of pepper spraying people and stuff like that, but let's just get back to this. Shit. Let's get back over here. Let's go, bro, nothing better than LA. For real. Yo, honestly, the riots ain't even that bad in LA, bro. No? Nah. Oh, wait, watch out. Watch out.
Put my sign up there, bitch!
It's not that bad. That's not that bad here. It's not that bad. Yo, there is.
Yeah. I'm going to type flee blue cities, flee blue states. Yeah, I mean, it's different, bro. It's just different out there. This is what I was saying earlier. The president did say, about protesters, we met with a very strong force. And then he's like, wait a minute, you're allowed to protest. You just can't riot. There's a difference. And so a reporter asked, well, take a look. Carolyn.
So if there were peaceful protests on Saturday for the militant parade, President Trump would allow that?
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question. Raquel.
So if there were peaceful protests on Saturday for the militant parade, President Trump would allow that?
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question. Raquel.
So if
But I am going to defend the reporter. Like, shockingly enough, I'm going to defend the reporter there. I think yesterday I played the video on the show. President said about protests, like I said. So the clarification was needed. But not really, because we all know you can peacefully protest. The difference is that the left doesn't peacefully protest. They try to say, oh, you're shutting down my rights. No, you don't have rights when you're acting like a mob, when you're a violent mob. You lose those privileges. You don't have the right to block traffic and set shit on fire and attack people. See, that's the opposite of protesting. That's becoming a criminal. And you are asking for the full weight of the law enforcement apparatus to smack you with detainment, charges, and hopefully convictions. So yeah, it's a big difference. And that's what we said here in the comments. To be fair, President Trump did answer a question denouncing protesters, and it left some wiggle room for peaceful protest clarification. And now it's clarified. Clarified is what we typed. So, did you see this? It's on our Instagram feed, just in case anybody wants to see this one. It says, help your country and yourself report all foreign invaders. 866 DHS to ICE. Department of Homeland Security to ICE. 866 DHS to ICE. I don't know if that works. Should I call it? Gosh, here, I'm going to call it on, let me call it. See what happens. Let me put it on speaker. 866 DHS to ICE. Let's see what this is. Can you hear it? It's not ringing yet. It's not calling either. Oh, there we go.
Investigations tip line. If you have a life or death emergency, please hang up and dial 911. Your information is very important to us. We are currently experiencing a longer wait time than normal. If you prefer not to wait on hold, you may also submit your information using the HSI tip line web tip form, located at www.ice.gov/tips. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed. Para español, oprima número 4. If you are calling about an appointment with ICE or to change your address with ICE, press 1. If you are calling to provide a tip or add information to an existing report, press 2. For general information about the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or Homeland Security investigations, press 3. Press 9 to repeat this menu.
Huh. The more you know. All right. Well, that was the extent of what I wanted to share with you on Instagram today. Let's switch over to X. Whew. Debo Samuel. Looking thick and slow, buddy. Thick and slow. Slow motion. Whew. All right. Let's scroll through X. Make sure we have the latest info here. Adam Schiff talking about these deep state Democrat riots.
He then told another lie that he was going to focus on those violent criminals. And of course, not finding enough of those violent criminals to go after, he's now engaging in these indiscriminate raids. They're chasing farm workers through fields. They're showing up at schools. They're showing up outside of.
I think what Adam Schiff, the known traitor, I'd love to see him charged with treason for his role in the fake January 6th indictments, the impeachment hoaxes. Yeah. This guy is as corrupt, as blackmailed and bribed as they get, on the wrong side of just about everything. He's essentially saying, oh, arrests are happening in many locations. Oh, you mean arrests happen in more than one location? So he's rattling off many locations.
Home Depot, they're just grabbing people at traffic stops. They say they're looking for one person, but they're grabbing anybody they can get. And yes, people are going to protest that. And yes, people are going to be angry and they're going to be fearful.
Why would people be angry? How could you get angry at a concert security staff for saying, let me see your wristband? You go, I don't have one. You go, all right, you need to leave. But what? You need to leave. But. Adam, piece of Schiff. Shifty Schiff.
And then, for Donald Trump to add fuel to the fire.
Fuel to the fire? Bro, you sneaking in is the fire. That's the fuel. Trump didn't do that.
By federalizing the guard over the objection of the governor, by calling.
By not letting 2020 repeat itself? You think that by restoring law and order, that's the bad thing, not the bad things happening. Right, Shifty Schiff, right.
In the Marines effectively. This is an arsonist trying to set fire to things.
Did he just talk about the person trying to stop the arson as the arsonist? These are the biggest gaslighters on God's green earth. They will whiz on your leg and tell you it's raining. They'll do it right in front of you. They'll try to flick some up to get some splash back into your face. And they'll say, no, it's just raining. No, I'm not doing the thing I'm actively doing. You don't hate these deep state hacks enough.
Things. And with predictable results.
Predictable results. Adam Schiff. Western Lensman says, after left-wing rioters torch vehicles and lob Molotov cocktails in Los Angeles, Trump is an arsonist trying to set fire to things. Guys, disconnect from the clown show, please. Hey, speaking of the clown show, John Kasich at it again. Oh, MSNBC, of course. This is where all the goofy people go.
Look, what we're missing in our country right now is a great dose of empathy.
Empathy for the person that snuck into the concert. You don't need to be empathetic. You need to pay the performers on stage. You need to pay the vendors. You need to pay the security staff, pay the people running lights and sound. You need to pay the people that clean the facility. You need to pay the people that have rented the facility. You need to pay the promoter. You need to pay the agent. You need to pay the manager. You need to pay the band. You need to pay their touring band. You need to pay their their whole back line. You need to pay the drivers of the buses. Yeah, the revenue from your ticket sale pays all these people. That's where the empathy lies. They're doing what they do. It's the invader that's causing the problem. You're not empathetic for the person that sneaks in. You're empathetic toward the thing they're trying to do, but you're kind of messing it all up, getting in the way. You're doing things improperly. You buy a ticket, you show up at the front door, you provide your ID and you walk in. That's how you do it. Nobody's banned you from walking in. You just got to walk in the right way. Empathy. You know.
Everybody favors getting the criminals out of this country.
Oh, do they? Then let them do it, because anybody who snuck in is a criminal. Anyone that breaks into your house is a criminal. This is our country, our house. You broke in. Those are criminals.
Who came here illegally, but there's a great disagreement about whether
a disagreement between who
we should then pursue those who are not here illegally. And I just
hold on, those that are not here illegally. I've literally never heard anybody make that argument until you just made that argument. I've never heard that argument made.
I just want to go back in history, because Eisenhower tried to deport 1 million people out of this country, and it turned out to be an ugly chapter in America. The idea that we're going to go out there and just start sweeping people up is something that I think Americans won't tolerate. On the other hand,
people or invaders, military-aged men from parts unknown, caused by Obama, Biden, the Democrat Party opening our borders, pre-positioning armies across this country, sleeper cells, Trojan horses, ready to attack, ready to light the city on fire, ready to have military campaigns to cause chaos as part of their plan. Yeah, we need to go get those people that your Democrat Party let in, John Kasich. Oh, Brian, you're so dumb. Don't you know he's a Republican? No, Republicans don't go on MSNBC spewing left-wing talking points. John Kasich, Michael Steele, he was the former head of the RNC. What do you mean he's not Republican? Dude, when you start cashing your checks from MSNBC and talking the way he talks, you've lost your Republican card, pal. And I've interviewed Michael Steele in person before. 2015, 2016.
My opinion, I think the Californians, Newsom and the mayor of L.A., they didn't act quickly enough when they saw the attacks being made on ICE, the threats that were being made at the building where ICE was staged. And so that gave Trump an opportunity to move into that.
An opportunity or an obligation? Oh, that gave him an opportunity to put out the forest fire. An opportunity? It's an obligation. You're letting your country get torn apart. You're letting your city get torn apart. Yeah, you stop that. It's the broken window theory. You don't let it happen, or else it's going to spread everywhere. We saw it in 2020, and we're not doing it again.
And but look, I mean, also say the idea of seeing the military deployed like that is very, very disturbing to me. I don't like it. On the
you don't like stopping the Democrat deep state chaos.
On the other hand, when you talk about violence, people are like, I don't want to see violence. Get it stopped, whatever it takes.
Yeah, that's called common sense. DC Drano says, John Kasich is a crusty squeak toy relic from the old GOP that helped import cheap labor. He's still bitter that Trump whooped him. Go retire, John. It's over. Here's another video, the footage of the crash, and we'll tell you more info about it in the comments here. I mean, it is just like kind of coasting and floating down. I crashed into a building. That's awful. So according to Mr. Guns and Gear, Air India flight is that an I or an L or a 1? AL171 from Ahmedabad to London, England, crashed into a residential building shortly after takeoff. The flight was carrying 242 passengers and crew members on board the Boeing 787-8 aircraft. The nationalities of the passengers: 169 Indian nationals, 53 British nationals, 1 Canadian national, and 7 Portuguese nationals. This one here, ex-CIA Sarah Adams hinted a massive attack on India was being planned. You've seen her making the rounds. As a reply on two different posts just a couple days ago, Sarah Adams says the India attack is being planned in an AQ camp, Al-Qaeda camp in the south. You get the biggest attack that India will ever see on its soil is currently being planned in Afghanistan. Good luck with that. And go F yourself. That was from 0906. I'm sorry, 609. Why is this backwards? 10% humanitarian, 90% warlord. Author of Benghazi, Know Thy Enemy. CIA alum. Huh. So there's rumblings that something was being planned, a very large thing planned in India. The Trini account here says 2 captains at Air India raised concerns about faulty oxygen cylinders. Are we gonna be able to listen to this? Let me see if I can play you this report.
Viewers, the complainants have not been taken seriously by Air India. The breaking news that's coming in right now.
Actually, let's listen to this. It's a moment. This is while it's happening. Let's listen to everything they can report at the moment, just so we can kind of 72-hour rule. We can't claim to know anything as factual, but what we can do is start sifting through what people are saying, and we'll see how it holds up with proven reality as we move forward. Let's go ahead and do that here. Let's go.
Air India did not comply with the DGCA show cause notices that are there with us. The complaints were raised by Air India pilots, were ignored by Air India and DGCA.
The scenes here are just stunning. Ugh, man.
DGCA is now mulling whether there needs to be a termination. I want to quickly go across to Harsha, who's breaking out that news for us. Harsha, give us more details. You telling us exactly what a passenger on the same plane was telling us about oxygen suffocation, oxygen cylinders. You telling us 2 captains in the Air India earlier raised the issue of faulty oxygen cylinders in the aircraft and raised this matter, Harsha, with the CEO, Campbell Wilson. You're also giving us these letters that are there with us. Give us more details, Harsha.
Rhythm, is very bizarre and extremely shocking that the show cause notices were issued from the side of DGCA to Air India, but Air India was clearly sleeping on those show cause notices. Not even one Boeing aircraft, not even 777 or 787 for whom the faulty equipments were found during inspections, not even one of the Boeings were maintained. They were due for inspection, the engines were not changed, the machines were not replaced, and the flight was allowed to operate. The flight was allowed to operate. 5th June is the letter where the DGCA is clearly stating Air India is asking Air India not to operate the airline, not to operate the aircraft as the engines are faulty, the equipments are faulty, the equipments have expired, but still Air India decided to operate this Boeing 787 and keep the lives of 242 passengers in danger. At what cost? At the cost of earning money, at the cost of making profits. That's the intensity of the mindset of the people at Air India. Campbell Wilson, who is one of the offenders mentioned in the show cause notice, he just comes with a tweet. There's a tweet from the side of Air India. They only say sorry. They say we apologize. And the lives of 242 people right now, the real number is 105 casualty. The more numbers are right now coming in, like how many people have lost their lives. There are several who are critical, taken to the nearby hospital. And what we are hearing from the DGCA is that DGCA does the show cause notice. 15 days happens. DGCA again doesn't pull up the Air India, the airline. Both DGCA and Air India sleep on the show cause notice. Not once DGCA had summoned Campbell Wilson in the earlier show cause notices. And now when the incident has happened, when so many passengers have lost their lives, now Campbell Wilson is being summoned by DGCA. Now DGCA and the BCAS, after ministry had the meeting and after the marathon meeting, now DGCA has summoned Campbell Wilson of Air India, the CEO of Air India, to come here at DGCA office and give the reason behind the plane crash, the reason behind the faulty equipment, the reason why the communication couldn't be set up between the pilot and ATC, and if the engines were faulty, why it was operated. Now, when the passengers' lives have lost, if DGCA would have done it, Rhythm, if DGCA would have done it when Air India didn't comply by the show cause notice, the passengers' lives would have been saved.
They're not happy about this. David saying, why is the CIA talking at all? Yeah, I mean, look, there's misinformation and disinformation. That's what the CIA peddles for sure. It's tough to figure it out. But you got Mike Benz and you got that Sarah Adams. You got a couple people kind of really becoming prominent, and they're saying a lot of things that seem to make sense. So they're kind of gaining our trust. You kind of wonder if that might not be tied to trust us now, and then we're going to hit you with a doozy later. I don't know. You should never trust the CIA completely at all. Completely is not the right word. But yeah, the complaints being made here is that they knew there was a problem and they let them keep flying. Let's finish up this report here.
The aircraft would not have operated, but the aircraft was operating from Ahmedabad to London. It took off, and just after at 1:39 the communication was set. At 1:50 emergency was declared, and whoosh, the plane crashes. The plane crashes at the top of the terrace of the doctor's hostel. And this is the reality. Because of DGCA and because of Air India, this entire incident has happened. It could have not happened. It could have been the passenger life could have been saved if that Boeing 787 was not operating, if it was kept for maintenance, but they didn't maintain it. The engines were faulty, and therefore this entire plane crash happened. Back to you.
I think this is very, very important, as we are saying now.
This is very, very important. Very, very important.
It. The engines were faulty, and therefore this entire plane crash happened. Back to you.
I think this is very, very important, as we are saying now. The second breaking news that Harsha is breaking, we're going to first put that out as 1, 2, and 3. Air India did not comply with the DGCA show cause notice. Rakshita and Harsha, this is the breaking Harsha is getting us. Complaints raised by Air India pilots were ignored by Air India and DGCA. DGCA mulls over termination of the license.
Look at that. Just right into a apartment, or a, what did they say? It was a vacation home, or an Airbnb, or a hotel, a hostel. I think they said it was a hostel.
And over the.
Yeah. Well, the DGCA issued a show cause notice over faulty equipment. The airline was asked to ground the plane, but Air India kept operating that flight for profit. It's not profitable. Yeah, will somebody tell me what's Boeing on here? What the hell is Boeing on? Bala here posts this and says, life is deeply unpredictable. Just moments before the Air India Boeing crash, 2 UK nationals recorded a video smiling, unaware of what lay ahead. A haunting reminder that every moment counts. Oh boy.
We are at the airport, just boarding. Goodbye, India.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
10-hour flight back to England.
Going back happily calm. We are.
Boy. Images, RT says, images show debris from the Air India plane lodged in a doctor's hostel building in Ahmedabad. Goodness. Hey, you know what you're watching here? Here, let me go full screen. What do you think when you look at these images? Because I know what I think. I'm curious what you think. Oh my gosh, that comment. I guess this building was engineered better than the Twin Towers. Oof. Wow. But what do you think? I didn't think of Twin Towers. I thought of the Pentagon. Oh, people could have absolutely died in the building it hit. We're going to find out some more specifics as they remove some of this and really investigate. We have some preliminary numbers 40 to 110 feared dead, according to News 18 Times Now. Good question, David. He said, how could you ever trust them? I think you're talking about the CIA, about everything we seem to know about them. Yeah. I agreed. What I am saying is that people like Mike Benz have been reporting some really good, important stuff that's outing the deep state. It's really there's no other way to put it. The stuff he's doing equates to being a thorn in the side of the deep state, exposing criminality. And that's how you gain trust. That's how you gain trust. So, where was this scene at the Pentagon? That's what I'm getting at. Where was this at the Pentagon? Where was the wreckage? I didn't see wings. I didn't see a fuselage. I didn't see landing gear. We saw what appeared to be an explosion, just a bomb or a missile. We didn't see parts of the plane. Why didn't we see this for 9/11? I'm just asking the question, yeah. 9/11. Do we feel stupid looking at this and going, why did we ever let them tell us at the Pentagon that that's what happened? When we're looking at this, seeing wreckage. Oh, I'm sure some aviator will type in the comments, like you know what happened at the Pentagon was totally different, and it totally would have completely incinerated, and all of the you would have never seen. Really? It's just got me thinking. All right, it's just got me thinking. Yeah, all right. Comment, chat overlay. Here we go. Okay. Here's the Air India crash. No sound on this one. All this wreckage everywhere. It's the first Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner crash. 133 people are dead as of now, among the 242 on board. Former Gujarat CM Vijay Rupani has been declared dead in the crash. I'm going to ask, who is that? So I'll say, who is and has he been declared dead in the crash? Let's ask. Gujarat. Vijay Rupani was the chief minister of Gujarat, India from 16 to 21. Oh, born in Myanmar. Oh, now you got me thinking about the missing Malaysian flight, but I digress. Okay. Multiple sources say he was on it. Other leaders have confirmed his passing. One report from Money Control says he was severely injured rather than deceased, though it's an outlier compared with the majority of sources, including the Tribune, the Hindu, Hindustan Times, India Today. A single survivor in seat 11A was reported, but Rupani was listed in business class, seat 12A. All right. Akash Vatsa says, I was in the same damn flight 2 hours before it took off from AMD. I came in this from Dell AMD, noticed unusual things in the place, made a video to tweet to Air India. I would want to give more details. Please contact me. So what is the claim here? He's got the picture of it. And it's a Dreamliner. Love it, he says.
We are almost about to taxi, but this AC is not working. Look at everyone, and it's so many people. They are using these magazines. AC is not working at all.
Air conditioner not working.
And as usual, your TV screens are also not working. Neither this button for calling the cabin crew. Nothing is working. Nothing. Not even the light is working. See, is this what you are providing? And as usual, that is why Air India is considered as one of the worst airlines in the world. AC is still not working, and today it is very, very, very hot in Delhi.
Very, very, very. That is like the most popular thing that you hear. Very, 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 very good. Very, 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 very fast. Very, very.
And it's a Dreamliner 787.
So he was on the exact same plane.
See, I'm sweating like hell.
Sweating like hell. Now, I mean, we've all been in that spot where you're on a plane and they're not putting the air conditioning on. It doesn't mean it's not working. It means they're choosing not to for some reason. I remember I was on a flight in Jamaica and they spilled jet fuel all over the tarmac. And we had to wait for like 2 hours while they cleaned it up and had to be careful that they wouldn't ignite. We were sitting in a open air pool of jet fuel. One spark, one little, we would have cooked in there. I'm just drenched in sweat. Imagine Jamaica, man. Oh boy. So if you're sitting there and it's not working, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It just means they don't have it activated per se, but he's also showing none of this other stuff works either. That wasn't done. Why did it stop?
I'm sweating like hell.
Sweating like hell.
And we are here for the last 15 minutes. Nothing happening. Remote isn't working. Nothing is working. I don't know why I booked this flight again. And as usual, the map, the in-flight entertainment is not working. Leave in-flight entertainment. If I talk about this light, it is also not working. If I press this cabin crew button,
I heard something go beep, boop. Maybe it wasn't him though.
It's not working either. Nothing is working. Nothing at all.
Can you imagine? Now, number one, we have to be very discerning with these videos. I don't know if what I'm watching is accurate. I don't know if it's real. So first off, you never know if anything is accurate. But if this dude was on that flight but 2 hours before it exploded, could you imagine? Would you feel guilt or would you feel? I don't even know. Like what would that make you feel? I don't know. I'm feeling a certain kind of way just watching that. So we'll unpack more about that later. David is saying, and I do understand exactly what you're saying also. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of CIA people that are giving us very important stuff that's confirming what we've known and been talking about for years. And it's like, oh, good. There's somebody out there that's on our side. And it's not about being on our side. It's about being on the side of accuracy. So there it is again. Air India Dreamliner, 242 souls went down. Captain was a seasoned pilot with 9,000 hours. Hinduism and Science says they confirm a survivor of Air India crash, 40-year-old Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, alive and being treated at Civil Hospital Asarwa. Not sure if that's true or not. Hopefully, at least a person was able to escape that. Not sure if it's true or not. James Lee says in 2024, just before offing himself, air quote, Boeing whistleblower John Barnett warned of major quality issues in the company's 787 aircraft that could lead to a fatal crash. Today, Air India goes down. So a former Boeing employee found dead in March accused the company of countless violations of U.S. law in testimony given just before his death. Josh Barnett claimed the firm tried to eliminate quality inspections at a plant that makes 787 planes. The former quality control manager had been given a formal legal disposition against the plane manufacturer. The 62-year-old's death after 2 days of testimony was from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. This report here says lots of people are saying flaps were not engaged and thus impossible for lift. It's possible this was actually pilot error. Anything's possible. We're trying to figure it out. Never claim to understand what you know. Until you've had a little bit of time to sort stuff out. We just don't know. Hold on. Is Spaceballs 2 happening? Hold on. Wait a minute. Are we going to be able to get the music? Am I going to get flagged for the music? Probably. 38 years ago, there was only one Star Wars trilogy, but since then, there have been a prequel trilogy, a sequel trilogy, a sequel to the prequel, a prequel to the sequel, countless TV spin-offs, a movie spin-off of the TV spin-off, which is both a prequel and a sequel, not to mention 2 Dunes, 7 Jurassic Parks, 2 Avatars, plus 3 upcoming Avatars, making 5 Avatars, 36 Marvel comic universe movies with 2 different Robert Downey Jr.'s. DCU attempt number 1. DCU attempt number 2. An animated Lion King. A live-action animated Lion King. A live-action animated Lion King prequel. 8 Harry Potter movies. A TV series remaking the same 8 Harry Potter movies. A whole streaming service of Star Trek. 7 Alien movies, 2 of which were also Predator movies, not to be mistaken for the 6 Predator movies that are also not Alien movies. 1 Prometheus, which is kind of an Alien movie. 4 Beatles movies, and Oppenheimer. But in 38 years, there has only ever been one. Only ever been one. Spaceballs. Guys, is this happening? I think this is happening. Until now. I guess that's all we're going to get. No leaked footage. Oh, what's this? That's Mel Brooks.
After 40 years, we asked, what do the fans want?
Spaceballs, the sweatshirt.
But instead, we're making this movie.
The Schwartz awakens in 2027. Oh, we got to wait 2 years for this? Ah.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Only in theater. Hey, I saw the commercial yesterday that there's going to be an airplane. Wait, is it? No, Naked Gun redo? That sounds good to me. Okay, sorry. I saw that trending and I had to show you that. That was like brand new. Viral news, New York City says breaking news. There's been a possible... Am I showing you the right screen? Yes. You good, buddy? Possible terror attack on New York Police Department, Bushwick, Brooklyn, June 12, 25. An act of terrorism may have just been committed against NYPD in Bushwick. A suspected Molotov cocktail or similar incendiary device was hurled into an NYPD vehicle lot, setting at least 9 patrol cars on fire, according to early reports. A level 1 mobilization has been called. Police are actively searching for a suspect, described as a black or Hispanic male wearing all black. Developing story, updates to follow. Okay.
I don't want to say anything wrong, but it looks like it's another one of these anarchist jobs, or another.
You know, this is spreading everywhere because there are sleeper cells in every city.
One of these anti-cop jobs. So this is New York, and unfortunately, we have to live with this.
Well, they're trying to move more. I mean, Stay frosty, people. Be prepared. Have a plan. Be ready. Be brave. Be strong. All right. What is this? Robo-taxis in Austin you can have without you can have without a driver. But in Sweden, you can't even change lanes on the highway without him confirming to turn the signal. Elon says they're trying to prove it. Dutch authorities, the European Union, very frustrating, hurting the safety of people in Europe. Because advanced autopilot engaged results in 4 times fewer injuries. Of course, President Trump talking about his deal with China and Xi. Disclosed TV reports the UN Nuclear Watchdog's Board of Governors finds that Iran is not complying with its nuclear obligations for the first time in 20 years. Oh, that is not a wise idea. Not a wise idea. Yeah, this is not the president you want to mess around and find out about. All right, AMR 39157. Thank you for joining the show. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. We unpack the news as it happens. And short answer: what do you think made the plane crash? Quick answer: I don't know. Longer answer: how could I possibly know? But what I am doing is I'm trying to be, I just did what would you guys say, 15, 20-minute segment. If you're just jumping in and you missed the segment, I would encourage you to go back, just scroll back 20 minutes, because we did 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe, showing videos. The one guy showed 2 pictures and 2 videos. He said he was on the plane, I think 2 hours before it crashed, and he said nothing was working. Yes, Kenneth, gravity caused the crash. There's a comedian in every group. But as Bobby Kennedy does say at times like this, yes, humor can be helpful, because I truly believe that laughter is the best medicine. In fact, I put the ha into ma ha. Ha, 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 ha. So no, I don't know what made it crash. There are a lot of accusations right now. Generally speaking, I hold firm to a 72-hour rule. I want to see what other people are saying. Because I share it or talk about it, that does not mean I'm endorsing that theory. I'm trying to find the things that look to be the most interesting. And then I filter 100 stories down to 5 or 10, and it's like I'll put them out there for consideration, and then we'll learn more later in the day. We'll learn more tomorrow. Before 72 hours, we get so many conflicting reports. I try not to be reckless with that. AMR, what is your name, sir or madam? I do love to hear where you're calling from or where you're watching from. It's most definitely not Boeing's fault because Air India don't maintain their aircraft. Oh, hey, all right. That's a fantastic theory there, or a fantastic point to raise. It's the same thing that would happen with there would be a shooting, a mass shooting, or maybe a school shooting. And the American Democrats would be like, oh, we got to ban guns. You know what? We should sue Smith & Wesson. We should sue them out of New York. Yeah, the NRA left New York. Manufacturing companies, Colt, and I'm trying to remember exactly which companies, but they flee because blue cities and blue states, Democrats, want to sue the gun companies. It's like, I make a tool. I make a drill, says Craftsman. If you take a drill and drill it through your hand, that's on you for what you did with it. I created a perfectly fine tool. Oh, it's a weapon of war. It's designed to kill. No, it's designed to be an inanimate object that's defined by how the person who owns it uses it. You can't sue Chevy because somebody takes a vehicle and jumps up onto the promenade, onto the sidewalk, and mows down 23 people in an Islamic terror attack. We saw that for how many years when Obama was in charge? It's up to the person with the device and how they're handling it and how they're maintaining it. it's not Boeing's fault if Air India didn't maintain their aircraft. Now, the thing I don't know, is there something in the contract with the plane manufacturers that requires, if we sell you a device, a plane, a Dreamliner in this case, do you have to pay us and our team to inspect this on a quarterly basis at a price of $5,000 per inspection? We're going to go, soup to nuts. We're going to check everything and find out, are you properly maintaining the vehicle, the device? Are you maintaining the plane? Because if they don't require that, it's almost like if you buy a car from a Toyota dealership and they say, hey, you're going to void your warranty unless you unless you bring this vehicle every 5,000 miles back to our service shop so that our trained mechanics can service your Toyota vehicle in our Toyota shops, or you'll void your warranty, and then it's all on you. But if you follow the timelines and you get the tires rotated and you get the oil changes at a hefty markup, by the way, then we'll continue the warranty. But if you don't, then you don't. So I would be curious to find out what is in place with aircraft regarding maintenance. So that's something I don't know the answer to. Sure ain't. Mel broke. No, Mel Brooks, not Mel Broke. Yeah, there will be no John Candy in Spaceballs 2. Sadly. Yes, AMR. I did cover Air India, showed you several videos and several. Yeah, and we actually played a 4.5-minute report from a local station talking about how they ignored the complaints and warnings. There were known problems that airline, according to that news report that we played. We played a 4 or 5-minute report from India, explaining it in English, Indian broken English, really tough to follow. It's a hard accent to really listen to for many minutes. But yeah, just scroll back. We did cover all of that stuff. I know some stuff about planes, and like I said, just the general. Take the airplanes out of it. Just a Toyota dealership. You got to bring it back every 3,000 miles for an oil change. Every 10,000, you change the tire rotations, and you got to flush the fluids on a regular every 50,000, 150, like whatever it is. I know that if they can do that for automobiles, why wouldn't they require that for aircraft? But I don't quite know the answer to that. But it's a great question. It's a great question that we should do some research on. So if someone wants to type that in on Grok, actually, let me ask it. Airflight 51. Where does it say Boeing? What does it say Boeing here? Here, I'm going to ask Grok. Let me share this tab instead. Can you guys see this? Let me go full screen. Flip this. All right, here. Let me ask Grok. Oh, Boeing 787 Dreamliner. There we go. I'll just copy and paste. Okay. Does Boeing require that their Boeing 787 Dreamliners be regularly serviced by professional Boeing inspectors to maintain warranty on the planes, regardless of which airline buys the craft? Was this plane under a similar arrangement? Let's see if Grok can come up with an answer to this one. You said there are a lot of videos that talk about Air India not maintaining their aircraft. Yeah, I told that one. The guy's like, "Oh, this is very, very bad. I'm sweating like hell. Sweating like hell. The buttons don't work on the remote. Very, very, very bad." So I did play some of that. Duct tape airlines. Boeing, all right, here, let's hear what Grok has to say. Boeing, like other aircraft manufacturers, provides a warranty period for new aircraft, including this one. Warranty typically covers defects, materials, and workmanship. However, there's no publicly available evidence or standard industry practice indicating that Boeing maintains regular servicing by Boeing employed inspectors to maintain the warranty on 787 Dreamliners, regardless of the purchasing airline. Instead, maintenance requirements are governed by a combination of Boeing guidelines, regulatory authorities like the FAA or EASA, and airline-specific maintenance programs. Now, I find that pretty weird. If we're going to talk about that, I find that kind of weird that Boeing wouldn't force their buyers to stand by. Hey, every 6 months we're coming by and we're going to do a full inspection. And if you're not passing, we're going to commandeer. We're going to make the repairs and we're going to bill you for it. In fact, when you buy a Boeing for however much you pay for it, we're going to tack on 20% extra for a service fund. And as we find issues, you're going to get billed and we'll release it on a graduated, sliding scale or a prorated refund amount. If you're maintaining it properly, then we don't need to keep that much in store because you're doing your work. But we're not going to let you soil our good name by letting our plane go down due to your lack of regulation and your lack of follow through, maintenance, repairs. It's kind of interesting. I've never really thought about this angle. I appreciate your question. I really do. Kenneth, oh, my various gods. Was that an Apu line from The Simpsons? Oh my God. Because that would cost a fortune for the airline. Some airliners have licensed Boeing manufactured workers. Yeah, it's just like, but if it's our company, we know how to do this the right way. Let us come in. We'll just, you have to pay us every 3 months, every 6 months, or every month. We're going to send someone in on the first. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month. And you send your Boeing guy out. All right, we're going to take apart. We're going to look at this. We're going to look at, now, maybe not everything. You take everything apart, but you check the oil, you check the fluids, you turn it on, you listen to it, you check the gauges, you check the top off the windshield wiper. Like, you do a 47-point inspection, whatever it is. Wouldn't that protect Boeing? And it would protect the airline that bought it. Now, if they're too cheap to do it, you're playing Russian roulette with your company and with lives. So, yeah, I've never really thought too much about this angle of things, but now I'm very curious. General maintenance requirements, maintenance planning document with daily, weekly, and more comprehensive checks, A checks and C checks, covering airframe systems and components. These checks are typically performed by airline maintenance teams or certified third-party maintenance, repair, and overhaul providers, not necessarily Boeing inspectors. The FAA and other aviation authorities mandate compliance with these schedules to ensure airworthiness, and airlines must adhere to them regardless of warranty status. Boeing doesn't have publicly detailed warranty agreements. Industry norms suggest they cover specific components or systems for a defined period. FAA notes that some compliance costs for 787 inspections, landing gear, lavatory issues, may be covered under Boeing's warranty program. However, they don't typically require Boeing inspectors to perform the work. Airlines are responsible for maintenance using certified technicians who follow Boeing's procedures and regulatory standards. Let me add, if they do it, who's checking to make sure that they do it? Is someone watching them do it? Is someone checking to make sure they're checking the right way? Boeing provides technical support, documentation, and sometimes on-site assistance during warranty periods. Actual maintenance is usually conducted by the airline or the MRO techs who are certified to work on the 787. For instance, American Airlines maintenance of its 787s at Dallas-Fort Worth involved their own expert teams, not Boeing inspectors. Performing tasks like A checks, Boeing may require that maintenance adheres to their specifications to maintain warranty coverage, but this doesn't mean Boeing personnel must directly. All right, so recent incidents. pilot seat malfunctions, landing gear defects, corrosion risks, inspections. No conclusive evidence, still under inspection. So conclusion is kind of what I just said. So, all right, that's what we know about that. Yeah, and I got my buddy who just flew in. He doesn't fly all that often. And he's going to have to fly back to Los Angeles. It's kind of like a little terrifying, huh? All right. That's all I had to share with you today on the program. AMR says, for example, Lufthansa. How do I pronounce that? Lufthansa. I know the word, but I don't say it very often. Lufthansa have specialized workers with licenses to maintain their Boeing aircrafts and Airbus. Yeah, so you're an aviation guy, like you. I don't know. Are you a guy or a girl? I'm guessing. Yeah, I mean, look, any mechanic can handle things. You don't have to be a Honda certified mechanic to handle a Honda. But sometimes, hello, AMR, a guy. Where are you watching from today, AMR? On where are you at? Twitch or Kick? What is that? Twitch. There you go. Thanks for watching us on Twitch. Please subscribe. Yeah, we just cover what's going on in the news. Sometimes sports, sometimes breaking tragedies, sometimes breaking good things. Macedonia. Wow. Thanks for joining today. Yeah, prayers of peace and strength to everybody impacted from that. That is just, we assume stuff like that. Oh, that'll never happen to us. But it happens to some people. It does happen occasionally to some people. And so prayers of peace and strength to the families of the people impacted in that crash. Yeah, we made jokes about it, but we make jokes about everything because I'm a comedian and because Kenneth is one of my joke writers. But yeah, seriously, that awful story. We'll continue to get some updates as we find them in the days ahead. Yeah, do we trust flying? How much do we trust flying? More than gas station sushi? Do we trust flying? In 2025, do we trust anything anymore? David says he doesn't trust flying too much anymore. Always seems to cost lives. David went to Cuba in the winter. Never feel good about flying anymore. AMR says it is much safer than driving. Yeah, driving was an easier game in your 20s. I think as you age, driving long distances gets the eyelids trying to stay focused. Night driving has been more difficult. Not impossible, but yeah, there have been a couple times where I've decided, you know what? I'm going to pull over to rest stop and take a nap. I am not going to continue driving. There's times you push through and times that you feel fine. And sometimes you just don't know which day it's going to be when you get started. A 3-hour flight or a 3-day drive? Yeah. Yeah, I took a Chevy Blazer from, where was I at? Virginia Beach on the East Coast to Santa Monica, California in the same week. Went from Virginia Beach to Ohio, out to Los Angeles. Coast to coast, same week. Yeah, it was like 3 days, 36 hours of driving, 12-hour days. Woo. Something like that. But yeah, we will cover this story. We'll follow this story as more details emerge. Who's actually checking to make sure that the planes are being maintained properly? Because if some of these early reports that these have been poorly maintained because it's Air India, we got a problem, and it's something we need to address. David says, even driving now, there's always a chance something could happen with terrible drivers on the road. Yeah. One of my bandmates and best friends got killed in a motorcycle crash on the Pacific Coast Highway in California. And you know, if you get in a car accident, you know, maybe the airbags are deployed, maybe you get throttled, maybe you're injured, but you survive. Yeah, you could have a fender bender in a vehicle in a car, but on a bike, on a motorcycle, you know, it's like it's hard to win comeback player of the year in skydiving if your chute doesn't open up, you know? A lot of planes. I mean, we've seen a lot of crash landings, but this thing was just coasting down. It couldn't do anything. It was just like, mayday, mayday, we're coming down. They're logging what they fix in the airplanes. Yeah, I mean, just like if you go to any store or something, you go in the restroom and it says, this restroom checked at noon by this manager, CJP. Okay. You know, yeah, there's supposed to be manual maintenance logs for all this stuff, but you know, is there a check and a double check? Is there a verification that it's actually being done, or could someone just be writing and go, we don't got money to replace that. We got to get a couple more flights out of this. Let's go stretch our dollar. That's what's being alleged right now. AMR is saying they're logging what they fix in airplanes in both Boeing and Airbus. I mean, I just assume that's all happening, but now it's like, let's go back and look. And based on what Grok is saying, like, I don't know that someone from Boeing is regularly checking this stuff at all. Don't they know the most? Shouldn't they raise big red warning flashing? Maybe should there be a requirement you do a yearly inspection from the manufacturer of the plane to see whatever you're doing, are you doing a good job, or are you not adhering to the safety standards? Are you not providing the proper maintenance? I don't know. We all have to ask these questions now. And that is what the investigation will tell us. So, absolutely. Oh, David, there's so many people speeding and not paying attention and distracted with their phones, and it's a mess. Yeah. But the point I was bringing up about motorcycles, it's not so much, are you going to make a mistake? If somebody else doesn't see you in their blind spot and whips over and just, you're gone. Someone else's mistake could cause your imminent demise. It's not just that you took a turn too fast, or you did this, or you misjudged something. You didn't stop in time. You didn't leave enough room between you and there's 100 ways that you could have a personal error that causes a problem, a safety issue, health and safety issue. But it's also everybody else around you. You assume that they're on the ball, but what if they drift into your lane and clip your tire and you start flipping? Like, anything could happen. So we either live as Bubble Boy from the Seinfeld episode. Moops. Who are the moops? It's Moors. It's supposed to say Moors. I'm sorry, it says moops. There's no moops. We're either going to be Bubble Boys, or we're going to go out and venture in this universe. And there is, unfortunately, risk involved with that. But what is the phrase? I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. And yeah, there's a place where you can have everything handled for you in a nice, safe environment. You have your meals and your shelter, everything provided for you. Don't worry, we'll take care of you. It's called prison. Live in a box, and we'll just feed you some slop and keep you in a box. That's not really how we're meant to live, you know? Okay, thank you for the update. We're hearing now AMR is saying it has been confirmed 200 dead from the flight. Thank you for the update. And once again, thoughts and prayers of peace and strength to everybody impacted. So many people have been impacted. All right, that's what I have today. I'll be back tomorrow giving you another update, probably on this story and more on the TNAM Daily Show. To everybody watching, please find us in some other places. AMR found us on our Twitch feed. We're also the New American Media's on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube. Find the New American Media, hit like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. On X at American_Media_. And our podcast is the Agree to Disagree Show on Spotify and Apple. And if anybody likes to support independent journalism and media, we're on Patreon at the New American Media, Venmo and Cash App at BrianEngelman, and PayPal at Fuzz Installment, all scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, David. Thank you, Bella. Thank you, AMR. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.